What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Devon,
It's your boy Mark,
and welcome to another episode of the
30 and 8
30 and 8
podcast.
podcast. Let's go, let's go.
Let's go. How you doing today?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, brother, tired today, boy. Yeah,
Um,
it's just been, I don't know, the rain in this weekend and the storms and hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff. Well, not hurricanes, but I don't know, maybe it just got me a little lethargic and I just want to chill and stuff.
and weather do it to you, like it's been a long day. I've been running since like 7 this morning, so running. But hey, that's part of life. But we're here today for an episode regarding what's been popular since last week, the Tory Lanez situation.
Free Tory.
Free Tory. I guess y'all already know where we stand at, but just kind of want to bring up the situation where some new evidence has come out. But before we get into new evidence, we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit. Of course, we know what happened as far as, unfortunately, Megan being shot in the foot. Tory Lanez was the person who was accused. Just to kind of give some color to the situation and what the charges were, he was charged with assault with a semi-automatic, possession of a concealed firearm, an unregistered firearm, as well as negligent. I always mess it up. Negligent discharge of a firearm. So those were his three charges. He got sentenced to 14 years. I think he's done what 2, 3 years right now,
You
and
got
then
14?
and
I thought it was just 10. Golly.
no, it was 14, bro. They gave that boy some time, give him football numbers for real. Like they're not playing because um they're violent charges. It's all around firearms, especially since it's semi-automatic. So when you're dealing with automatic or semi-automatics, they typically gonna give you more time versus if it's like a revolver or something. Not, I mean, revolver, semi-automatic, automatic does the same thing, but it's just as we all
How
know,
you know that, Mark?
it's a gun. Like put a
Nah,
hole in
nah,
your
but
ass.
you just seem to be really versed in the gun world. Well, what you been doing in past life I don't know about, man.
Nothing, nothing. I am not a criminal
Uh,
at all. I
let me
don't shoot guns,
find
none of
out
that.
you and your Antonio Brown when stuff get real. You just pull out that gun and just start shooting.
Pull out that strap.
That boy AB was wild for that, but he was in the right. You shouldn't try
He
jacking a
was.
man for his jewelry, so it is what it
Yeah,
is.
you got to defend yourself, and I don't understand what that trend is trying to steal people's jewelry. Like, why don't you work or do what you got to do to where you can get that jewelry instead of trying to steal it? Like, when you're trying to take something from someone, chances are people are going to defend themselves. And to your point, like you said earlier, he handled his business. He what was the new saying nowadays? Stood on business. So. But as far as like with as
No,
far as like
go.
oh yeah, so as far as like with the situation, like I was saying before, he was charged with assault with a semi-automatic, possession of a concealed, unregistered firearm, and negligent discharge of a firearm. So he got 14 years. I think he's done like maybe like 3 years, give or take. On that, so those are just the charges. So as far as the DNA aspect, I'm a person of facts. I don't care about opinions and what we think happened. I mean, obviously, none of us were there besides those people that were in the car. So all we really should go on are facts. And I do think that the Tory Lanez thing is that he got railroaded to an extent because the actual concrete evidence, there was no concrete evidence that really pinned him to actually being in possession of the gun because the DNA on the gun, when they ran the DNA, came back inconclusive. So
I'm about to
what?
say that. I think they said it's not even his gun.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's
It's
inconclusive.
always been Kelsey's gun from what I've heard. So
Yeah. So you know, um, to your point, thank you for that. To your point, Tory Lanez went and got new counsel, and his new lawyer representation stated that they retested the gun and it came back 102%. What happened just 100%? Just random. Like, what is the 2%? But whatever. 102% excluded him. He told this to Jason Lee through via text messages. So he had that phone in prison. Texting. I mean, we heard his last two
hey,
joints they were drinking.
Mark, I gotta call an audible. We got breaking news from what Meg Thee Stallion just posted on social media. You mind if I
Okay.
read this?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, let me. She just posted this. She said, at what? Hold on. This is what she said. At what point are y'all? No. At what point are Tory and y'all fans going to stop lying? She said, at what point are y'all going to stop making me have to relive being shot by Tory? At what point are Tory and y'all fans going to stop lying? Like, how much is the check to keep harassing me? Why is this happening every day? 1 minute him slash y'all said I was never shot. Now y'all letting him play in y'all face again, all caps, and say I was shot, but it wasn't him. Oh, okay. I'm sick of this shit. Leave me TF alone. He ain't dare get on that stand and deny he shot me, and that was his choice because he knows he did that shit. IDGAF about a blog or a bot. YNTF would me, Megan Thee Stallion, have lied on this MF about shooting me? How y'all mad at the person that got shot? Facts are facts. He did it. It was proven in court. Fuck the hate campaign on the internet. Tory, you shot me. Ain't no new fucking evidence. Y'all been saying the same shit for years. Tory, please leave me alone, you fucking demon. I'm off this silly ass internet shit. Bye.
Let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
Why is it that, and it's just not for the Megan, it's just that she just so happens to post while we're talking, that people post online and then just say, I'm tired of this internet shit. Like, why, if you're tired of it, then why respond on the internet? Like, what's the point? You know, like, I don't understand that.
Well, I'm hoping maybe you can shed some light on this because wasn't the whole thing about the evidence in court? Was a bullet actually even found in her foot, or was it the glass in like a ricochet of a fragment?
It was fragments. It
Okay,
was fragments. It's definitely fragments. It's definitely fragments.
so but this is my question.
Mhm.
You saying this, but why would the bodyguard? Because what happened is, I'm assuming the bodyguard came forward to the cops or someone.
Yes, it
Why
was
did the
Kelsey's bodyguard.
bodyguard?
Mhm.
My bad. What did you say?
I said yes. It was Kelsey's bodyguard that came out,
It was
Bradley
Kelsey's
James.
bodyguard that came out.
Hmm.
So why would the bodyguard come forward and say this after such a amount period of time? What does he have to gain in the situation?
Exactly.
Because if anything, you would lose in this situation because if I'm your bodyguard and I'm paying you to protect me, I'm losing my job. Like going to that's basically like going to court for your you do something at a job and you get sued and you have the corporate lawyers tell you what to do and you just don't do what they say. So all you're doing is throwing yourself under the bus. I don't see what he has to benefit from it.
That's what I'm saying. He has nothing to gain, and you've been caught lying before. Like when Gail King asked you if you slept with him, you originally said no, which the whole world knew you was lying. Like we knew you were lying. So it's not like you haven't been caught in lies before. And then another thing that she stated, which needs to be stated, when it comes to going to court, and you're a defendant, your lawyer is going to tell you 9 times out of 10, this is all, you can Google this, that is not in your best interest for you to actually get on the stand. The reason being is cross examination. Not to get into that, that's for another episode, but you see how cross examination destroyed Casey's credibility. So they're not going to want the defendant to get on the stand and get destroyed in cross examination and ultimately lose the case. That is a common fact. Like people think this is law and order, where you get on the stand and you find out the person is guilty or not guilty by breaking the person down. It doesn't work like that. It's not in the best interest. All a lawyer is you have your defendant and your prosecutor, and basically they're just trying to convince. Obviously, the prosecutor is trying to convince this person is guilty. The defendant is trying to prove reasonable doubt, which I do want to say that specifically. A defense attorney's job is not to prove that you're guilty. is to prove reasonable doubt. I mean, not that you're not guilty. Their job is to prove reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt. There is a chance you still could have done it, but if the defense attorney proves reasonable doubt, then you're supposed to be let go. So, in my opinion, as far as like what the statement that was being made by his new counsel with that new DNA evidence, that should at least bare minimum grant him a new trial. Bare minimum. Bare minimum. Because we've been hearing suppressed evidence for a long time. And he's still a black man and it's still America. And you know how that goes with the law.
So,
So,
so I want to just break this down to what I believe this to be, just as Devon's opinion.
okay.
This is just a simple, classic examination of guy code, girl code. So let's just say this is me and you. It's a dime because we don't touch nothing less than dimes. You know, she's sleeping with both of us. We don't know this,
Right.
right? And then let's say the exact same situation happened. All the three of us went to a party or whatever. She was flirting with some other big time dude. We all get in the car. We kind of get into it or whatever, and we find out that yeah, she told me, hey Devon, yeah, I like you and all, but I've been fucking Mark this whole time anyways too, and we all get into it. A gun gets involved, and then someone
Mhm.
gets shot, right? So I guess
Right.
in this situation, Mark's foot gets shot, right?
Right.
So if this is me at this age of my life, if we're talking about a life or death situation, I'm gonna say even at any age of my life, I'm gonna pick my best friend over some girl I was just sleeping with. Like we gotta be honest about this. We're not talking about this ain't no one. This ain't a wife, ex-wife, ain't a mother of my child or something. So if something like that happened and I got a opinion on someone, yeah, me and you I'm gonna be mad at you for messing with my girl and not telling me about that. But eventually, me and you we could come to terms later on, or we might at the worst case scenario like just might not be cool as much as we used to be. But I'm
Right.
not sending you to jail over a chick. I'm just not. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not doing that because
Right.
the long story short, I know I got a better shot at repairing my friendship with you. But if a woman was playing both of us in that way, I know I can't never trust her again anyway. So I mean,
Right.
after everything happens, I know I'm not gonna talk to her again regardless. So I don't. It's easy for me to say I'm gonna side with my boy. We're gonna pin this on the girl, and I don't think. And I really think what happened is her name is Kelsey, right?
Yeah, it's Kelsey.
So I
Yeah.
think Kelsey and Meg after whatever situation happened, I don't know if it's in jail, after jail, they met up somewhere and they just said, "Look here, this guy Tory was messing with you and me at the same time. We supposed to be girls. We supposed to be cool. He the one that did us wrong. Why don't we just put it on him? That's
Yeah,
easy. That's easy to do. That's very very easy to do. And even if it isn't easy to do, even as Kelsey being a woman, because let's be honest, men and women, we both have different benefits, different preferences, and certain different privileges.
Mhm.
A woman knows that when it comes to a violent situation, she's going to give the benefit of the doubt normally when it comes to being in this violent situation with a man. She knew,
100%.
oh, I can just say he scared me or he's the one that attacked me or whatever the situation happened. And then from there, put it on him. So to me, I don't think that's just what it sounds like to me on a logical sense.
Mhm.
But I just overall, I can't 100%. I don't trust Meg, and like you said earlier, you can't. When Gail King asked you about Tory Lanez, you cry on cue about the situation and said we never slept together. So I know if your back is against the wall, you can fake that emotion, you can fake that sympathy from people to get what you want. So I can't just listen to what you're saying as a statement. And you were going over the facts. I'm gonna let you go back to it. But
Mhm.
overall, you need to free Tory. There's no DNA evidence on here with his fingers on the gun, and and the bodyguard said she overheard Kelsey telling her family that she shot Tory, then he needs to be freed. The governor, I don't even want this to go to trial again. Governor Newsom just needs to pardon him. If she, I believe the governor can do that because it's a state thing, not federal. So the governor needs to pardon him, free him. And if I'm Tory Lanez, I get my ass out the U.S. ASAP. I will go back to Canada. I will kick it in Toronto. I'm gonna holla at Drake. I'm not going back to. I'm not going back to California. I don't want a California king size bed. I don't want anything. I'm not even playing Tupac California Love. I don't want anything about California life again. I am good.
Facts. I'm out. And then I want to say something too about the gun DNA situation and why that's so important. So if you ever shoot a gun, you're gonna have residue on your hands. So the fact it came out inconclusive to me, if I was a jury and I was on the stand, I'm listening to the stories and knowing about gun residue and how when you shoot a gun, the evidence that it leaves behind. The fact that it came back inconclusive to me, I wouldn't have felt comfortable sending him to prison because I don't know for sure if he did it or not. Now, originally, when this story first broke, and I'm going to be honest when I say this is probably going to be a shocker, I was on Megan's side. Like, from what she had said, everything like that, I was on her side until more things started coming out. And then the inconclusive thing came out, and then the Gail King situation. So now this is looking like it's more to this story than what you're saying. And again, we weren't there. So we can, hypothesize, theorize all types of things about what happened. But based on the limited amount of evidence that's out there, the biggest and most important piece is inconclusive, which is the DNA. Like, and DNA doesn't lie. So if that came back inconclusive, how can you sit there and say that, you know, as a juror, I'm speaking from a juror perspective, how can I sit there and confidently say that Tory Lanez shot me? It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't. And then one thing I did want to add to and maybe this is probably one of Mark's stories, to the situation you had mentioned, use as hypothetical. I've been in, well, not the Tory Lanez blah 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 situation, but situation where me and a friend in freshman year found out we was messing with the same girl, and he kept it playing with me because I didn't know he knew before me. He had said something to me, pulled me to say, "Hey, Mark, I gotta talk to you," and I'm not gonna say nobody's name. He's like, "Hey, Mark, I gotta talk to you." I was like, about what? He was just like, about such and such. Like, what about it? He straight up told me, he's like, well, we've been messing around, we'll do whoop whoop. And I know y'all been messing around. There's gonna be any problems, there's gonna be that. I said, bro, me in college. Like, I'm not looking for a wife at that point in time. Live life, enjoy life. Like, guys carry stuff different than most guys. I don't want to say all, but most guys carry stuff different than women, most women. So I do agree with you. And I just, brought that up because I do agree with you. I think the way men would have handled it if it was two guys and a girl versus this situation was a guy and two girls, the outcome would have been different. I don't even think nobody would have went to jail, to be honest. But that's just my personal opinion on that part. But also another thing too, as far as for the government aspect, I do know one of the U.S. U.S. representatives has made a request for him to be released in pardon due to the new evidence. So it has to be some merit to what Tory Lanez is.
And Mark, let me interject 1 second on here because I
Yes.
think it's a very important part. I just want to wrap up the last thing you said, and we'll get to that. So,
Okay.
just for me, I mean, that's why it's emotionally when you hearing news like this, it's always easy to like keep picking sides and flip flopping and going back and forth. Because
Hmm.
when I first heard this situation, first I was on Tory's side, then I was on Meg's side because they kept saying that allegedly Tory Lanez put out the gun and said "dance, bitch" and was shooting at her feet. Now Tory Lanez isn't a tall man, right? I think he said that man like 5'3", 5'4", or something like that. So I can just see Meg the Stallion because she invited you to meet, Kylie Jenner,
Hmm.
and she's like, "I'm bringing you around the top-notch celebrities, and you got the nerves to play in my face, flirt with that girl while you messing with me and messing with my best friend." I can see her just, I mean, you can tell by her music. I know she got a mouth on her. I'm sure she was just ripping him to shreds in that car, and they're all drunk. And that man just finally got mad and said, "You know what, F you, B," and just, go off. I could I could see him being short tempered doing that.
Right.
But also, the more I started thinking about how men are in situations, or just myself, I could see. I'm like, based off the evidence, it could have been a struggle over the gun, and then the gun just went off, and it's just about who we can pin it on actually pull the trigger. I started thinking that way. That's kind of really how I lean. But it was in 2021. I was on Instagram, and it was some leaked audio. I don't know if it was Tory's bodyguard. It might have been Tory's bodyguard
Mhm.
that said it. But basically, he was on the phone. I guess someone leaked his audio, and he was basically saying that, like, they was. I'm trying to remember because it was about 4 years ago. They were
Mhm.
drunk. They was getting into it or whatever, and Kelsey had the gun, and Tory tried to actually stop it, and Tory tried to stop it and pushed the gun away, and then the gun went off, and that's why it ricocheted and hit Meg's foot. Now, remember, one of the bodyguards didn't show up to the trial.
Yeah.
He was in Mexico somewhere. Why he didn't show up, I don't know.
That's
But I remember hearing that 4 years ago, and I was talking to one of my friends on Instagram about it, and basically she didn't want to hear it because she's just saying a man should never, lay his hands or put violence on a woman. And let's
Mhm.
be honest, it's 2025. Men and women, we gotta be smart in that. You gotta take your personal emotions out of what's happened to you and your family and your generational curses. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but some of it's a generational curse, what
Mhm.
you're attracted to, your personal history of domestic violence, and get to put that to the side and just look at what the evidence is.
Right.
So it took 4 years, but that man got stabbed 14 times. This sounds realistic. I could see a man trying to grab the gun, take control of a situation. The gun bounces off the ground, boom, boom, it goes off. And overall, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but I just think
Right.
the evidence for DNA is inconclusive. That man deserves another trial. And quite frankly, if you can get that confession as an affidavit, like he could say to a lawyer, they type it up and sign it, then the governor should just pardon him.
I agree. I agree. And to your point, I now not really don't like to too much give my personal opinions, but as far as the situation goes, I 100% agree with you. I think it was more of him wrestling the gun from Kelsey and the gun going off than him actually aiming at her and shooting her in the foot. This isn't Harlem Nights. Come on now. Be serious. So be serious. When Eddie Murphy shot Della Reese in the toe, it's not that, like, not at all. So I think it was more of a struggle. I don't think it was anything that was done intentionally. It's a struggle for the gun, and it went off. That's just my personal opinion. But as far as the facts go, the DNA evidence was inconclusive, so you can't say for sure um, that he shot her because there's no true proof that he shot her besides he said that I said that we said. And people concoct stories all the time. People are literally nowadays getting out of prison because of false statements, concoct stories, stuff like that, based on DNA evidence. They have a whole entire nonprofit that uses DNA evidence to get people out of prison. They've gotten hundreds of people out over the years. So DNA evidence is important and very valid, in my opinion, in court. So that's my thoughts on that. And then I did want to ask you a question before we wrap up. Did you sign the petition that Drake put out?
That man Drake said free Tory. That's real love because those two didn't like each other at one point in time. So um, I can't say. Well, I did sign the petition
Okay.
because one thing about me, I will talk about something, but I believe in putting action behind what I say because if you don't put any action behind what you say doesn't matter.
Mhm.
So I found a way to
100%.
petition. I mean, I found a way to sign the petition. I shared it on Instagram. I didn't donate. I think Tory Lanez got enough money for his fees and stuff like that. So I didn't donate. To be honest, just Um, but I think earlier, I know I cut you off earlier. I think you was talking about a representative. I don't know what's the representative's name you were saying.
Uh,
Luna.
yeah, it's Anna Paulina Luna, I believe, U.S. representative that is basically asking for his release in part and based on new evidence. So if a U.S. representative is coming out um, and asking for that, it's some merit to what Tory's attorneys were saying. And I know not to backtrack too much, but Megan's saying people are attacking her. Now, I don't know if they are or they're not, but dude trying to get out of jail. Like anybody that's, God forbid, but I never want to go to prison, God forbid, but anybody goes to prison, their goal is to get out of jail. So unless he's like, and I don't know, this is, unless he's like literally like bothering her, he's trying to get out of prison. Like so if his lawyer is coming out, the lawyer's doing their job, like that comes with the territory. They're
I
trying to
don't
get
want
their
to say
client out of
that,
prison.
bro. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear this playing victim. I mean,
You gotta play a role.
well, I gotta take that halfway back because you are the one that got shot. But
She's a victim to an extent.
so you are, yeah, you are a victim to an extent. But you've been living your life. You put this behind you. If anything, you probably made more money off of this because of what happened, and you did interviews, sit downs, and stuff like that. And then you talk about being a woman and being independent, and that just garners more into your fan base. But I don't want to hear about being attacked, bro. Like this is you make your money. You're an artist. You're gonna make your money off social media. You can turn it off if you don't want to listen to it for a while. It is what it is. But like all this we gotta take accountability for stuff. At the end of the day, you was drunk, you was messing around with somebody who probably wasn't committed to you, and some stuff happened. But let's quit the victim. The, where's the self accountability? All right, just stop. I'm tired of people saying I'm being attacked. Yeah, you being attacked. We get attacked every day in life. That's life.
Yeah.
That's
More
life.
sympathy.
You are an
That's
artist.
what
People talk
about
about you every day. That's life.
facts. If you don't have critics, you're not successful. Malcolm X.
And
So
you said you signed also, right?
uh,
You signed the petition as well.
of course, signed it, shared it, definitely signed it. I didn't donate either, so don't feel bad. I
Yeah,
didn't
I was
donate.
about to. I was about to say, I mean, mark down with the cause.
Nah, I signed the petition though, but no, I didn't donate.
This energy is given. This energy is given. This is civil rights. And the king and Southern Leadership Conference.
Mm-hmm.
They came down. Hey y'all, we need y'all to march with us. Yeah, yeah, we march. But hey y'all, some of us we gonna lose our life in this march. Hey, Doc. Hey, look here, man. I ain't losing my life for you.
It's different forms of support, It's different
That
forms of
ain't funny,
support.
but I mean, I'm being lighthearted, people. But if you knew anything about me, I'll definitely risk it all for something like that. But I'm gonna bring up one little quick pivot
Okay.
you show up because what you were talking about with the evidence is very it's kind of ironic because I was watching a TV series on Apple TV called Presumed Innocent,
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's based off of a book. And essentially, he works for the DA's office in Chicago. And what happens is he's married, he has two kids. He has an affair with one of his coworkers, but one of his coworkers ends up dead, and he's the one that is presumed to have is the leading suspect in the murder because we find out is that she was actually pregnant with his child, which he didn't even know she was pregnant with his child when when they found out that she passed. So it was a good show, and since it came out a year ago, I don't mind spoiling some of it. He actually didn't do it,
Mm-hmm.
but someone he knows did do it. But basically, he tries to defend himself in court, and he's just like, "Yeah, you have evidence that I was there because we were having an affair. You don't have any evidence that I killed her, and that's a different thing." So that was actually a really good show. I think it was just a mini series, but if you have Apple TV, I suggest you watch it. It's called Presumed Innocent.
Check that out tonight. No, but it's a DNA is a real thing, and it's a lot of evidence that's out there whenever you're dealing with trial, where it's a lot of he said, I said, circumstantial evidence, a lot of circumstantial evidence that puts people away. And DNA, like I said earlier, they have literally nonprofit programs geared towards using DNA to get people out based on their, the facts of their case. A lot of circumstantial evidence puts people away. A lot of it. So I mean, he's doing that time, and unfortunately, he got stabbed got stabbed up 14 times, and he's doing better. He's breathing on his own. Should make a good full recovery, which happy for him. But if he really, based on the evidence coming out, bare minimum, he really should get another trial. That's monumental evidence that they did the test and it came back 102%. Not his DNA evidence, not his DNA evidence on the gun. That's monumental. That deserves bare minimum a free trial.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everyone. I think about to wrap it up here, folks. I will say, with that being said, the final Mission Impossible is coming out this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I will definitely be coming with a film review.
Okay.
Professors. I'm talking the second I walk out the theaters, I'm gonna drop that one for you all, so you should know if you should watch that film or not. I'm gonna go take a shot in the dark and say yes, it's Mission Impossible. Go watch the film. Where it ranks on
Those stunts are gonna be
one to 10,
crazy.
I'll leave you. I'll break it down in greater detail further.
Looking forward to that.
It's your boy Devon.
It's your boy Mark.
Thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Is there any
Please.
subject you want us to speak on or expound upon? Let us know. Any movie or TV show or film you want me to give an analysis on or an opinion on, let me know. We will do it just for you. We love you all. And as always, peace.
Peace.